All right, so how do we do it for you? Is it possible? Yes, you have to change the conversation. Can small companies do this? Yes, we do it every day with small companies just like yours. But the first thing you got to do, all right, here's the steps. Start with you. If, like I said earlier, if you don't know what makes your, if you don't know what your purpose is, you don't know why you show up every day, then we got to dig into that. You got to dig into it. Again, it has to be meaningful to you before it's going to be meaningful to anybody else, and it definitely starts at the top. It's really hard to take it into an organization from the ground up to the top, ground up. It's just really, really difficult. Clarify your why. So can you figure this out? Yes, there are practical steps. What do we do with that? We typically get people in rooms and we start talking about what's, like just tell me the what's. Let's get talking. Okay, yes, we've thrown out all the services you do. Now tell me another color over here. Tell me why, or tell me how you do those things. Your what's, your how's, and then we're going to dig into your whys. And then we're going to make you figure out through all this mess, I'm going to say, now what inspires you? What are the beliefs that are driving the organization? And it's almost always something that no one's thought about. Like, yes, that's a part of your story, but you talk about it a little bit. You think you said it enough, but no one knows the story, right? We need to hear the story over and over again so that we know how to behave. We know how to drive. And then we take this mess and we start to refine it into some things that matter. And then we come up with things like these, big ideas. These are SBT's big ideas. Innovation, expertise, and relationships. So that sounds fine. But what do we mean by big ideas? We mean that every decision, every thought, every pixel, every word that comes out of your company needs to include these three big ideas because they're driven from these why conversations. So innovation, that's their technology. You have to. They can't exist without the platform, right? So they have the software. They got it. Check. Great. That's the entry to play the game. Expertise. These things start to make SBT a little bit more specific. They know everything about compliance. Okay, and you guys should start to know that, right? They're there about compliance because they're trying to protect you, which is the last one. Everything is driven on the idea that they care about relationships, they care about people, and it's in this order. Because they care about people, they better make sure they're protecting your people and their people and everything else they're doing, right? And then they have the tool to help them play the game, okay? So all communication needs to work through this. Take the big ideas and turn it into a why statement. Let's see what they had to come up with. SBT's why. We believe that we're all created to connect. In a world where disconnection from responsibility and purpose is prevalent, we empower others to change the world through connected relationships. Is texting mentioned there? It's not. Do you see relationships mentioned there? You see protection and wanting to own an idea that people matter, basically, and we want to create tools that help you connect with others. Every text message matters because there's a relationship on each side of it, right? And this is stuff we heard from these guys, Danny and Mike and their team. It all was there. It was just kind of swimming around in this conversation or that one, but it's like, here's your clarity. Here's why you show up every day. And this is, we can see it from the outside. We see it outside the Coke bottle is what we sometimes say. You're inside it. You can't see the label. But we can see it, and we can tell you how to present it. So this is what they kind of looked like before we had this from a website standpoint. We built this. We've been working with them for 10 years, like we said earlier. So before, this is pretty much a what-focused message, right? And it looks like everything else on the internet with a big image with white text over the top. That's like 90% of all websites. We're like, well, we built it. How do we fix it? This is what we did. So we gave them a conversation starter helping you connect. And so any conversation they're in, they can go 2 inches deep or 10 feet deep about what that means to them, okay? Helping you connect. All three of their big ideas are in every one of those words. And it sounds like some tagline, but the moment that you can read it that way, but what you see here that you didn't see are people and text messages going out and relationships being established and meaningful things happening because of they're here. And it's so different than anybody else marketing-wise in their space. No one has anything about people. Just come and plug in and use our API, and we don't care how it works out for you. You're not going to get anything like that from SBT. consultative approach. Is this making sense? All right, how did they demonstrate their why? Well, they've got a chance to learn more about that tonight. They created an organization, Legacy Give. You're going to learn about how they're protecting relationships and protecting people and taking care of people in the community and demonstrating that they do care about relationships and people and helping them, all right? You get to be part of that. Your relationship with them, your dollars pay for this. That they're showing what they believe by how they spend their money. So, all right, that's a lot. Align your audience. Let's keep going. So I'm gonna have to move faster. So these are the things that you do, and we're getting closer and closer into what you typically think of agency type deliverables, but you see that we founded it on something completely different. So once you know your why, we got to align your audience with it. So here's an example of an audience. We typically put personas together of people. So is this lady Taco Bell or Chipotle? That didn't take you long to figure out. All right. So she cares a lot about these two humans right here, doesn't she? She's going to have 1,000 questions, and she's probably not shopping from the dollar menu. Just saying. That's just got to know your audience. So if we know her, we know what she cares about, we know how she makes decisions, then our content should be all about helping her overcome her obstacles to buying with us or buying in with us, right? And if we have a clear why, then we can help fuse those two things, help align her why and our why together, and we win. Okay? That's what we want. Then you got to align your brand. That's a visual thing. Just what's the uniform for your tribe look like, right? I'm gonna keep going, but this is basically logos, taglines, brand guidelines, all the things. Align your channels. You just got to make it look good. Consistency. If I introduce to your brand at all these different channels, I should be tasting that why consistently across them, right? Keep on keeping on. Equip your team. This is some of Solutions by Tech's tools. They're some of their brand assets. And so making sure that sales to the customer service folks, to the events like this, they're all tying into the personality. We are like this. This is what some of our visuals look like. This is how we use the branding. These are our colors, on and on and on. So they have tools for that. That's how you equip your team. That's one way. If you don't include your team in this process, this is a waste of your time and money. Okay? It's all about collaboration. And so we have to make sure everybody feels bought in and understands, like, okay, you want me to talk about whys and whats and hows in this certain order? Okay, but I need a little bit of explanation so that because we haven't done it that way before. And so we got to equip the team and help them understand that. Lastly, stay with it. There is a gap between when you start this process and when it's effective, and it takes faith all the way through it, okay? Because it's not what you've always done. The story I like to tell is of my daughter's volleyball team. She's 10 years old. She plays in a rec league in our area, and she plays volleyball, and their team is it's about their third or fourth year together. 2 years ago, they went undefeated, and so that's pretty cool. But this year, the coaches decided, you're good. Yes, you're good. You're better than the other teams, but the game that we're going to play in a few years is different than the one we're playing now. And so you're going to have to learn how to pass. And so she's required them to pass the ball 3 times and then hit it over. And the league that they're playing in is they're just firing it back. And so they played the second best team last week, and they got beat because they were playing a different game than the other team because they had to pass it. But basically the leader of their organization, their coach, is saying, I know where we're going. I know what it looks like, and it doesn't look like where we are now. And it's going to take collaboration and increased capacity to get us there. And we're going to get there, but this is what it's like. You're going to have to do a few things differently so that we can get there. And it's not going to be fun to lose right now. But you might lose people, you might lose whatever, but I'm saying there's a point from here to where you're going to jump off into these hard conversations, things you haven't done before, to get you there, but it's worth it on the other side. It's the difference between transactional thinking and relationships to loyalty thinking, okay? The long-term studies that we looked at, all those companies were winning long-term loyalty type conversations. They were talking about whys and then not always about whats. We good? We call this process overflow. If you say, hey, Aaron, I need you to come do that for me because that was awesome, that's what we're going to call it, all right? Out of the overflow of your heart, your core, that's what we want your brand to speak out of. That's our company. Do you guys see now how employee engagement, internal, right? Getting your why right, getting your people engaged. We come in and help you teach it and communicate it through your branding and your marketing. So that's how Brian and I work together so well. So that's it. So we're going to do a little exercise, another one. We're going to pass out some of those sheets, and we're going to see what you heard, what you learned. Thank you.